thank you for taking the time to check out this video. Uh, if you've been following me on LinkedIn the past couple of days, I posted a project on Sunday of a project of deploying a Kubernetes cluster that's going to be hosting an application, a web application, in fact. So, and this project was to help me with being able to expand my knowledge on the Kubernetes cluster, well, Kubernetes service itself. But along with the studies I've been doing for the past 2 or 3 weeks, I've been learning Dockers and also Git as well. That I So I can learn how to deploy my own Docker's images for my test clusters and things like that. And also I use Git to push the manifest files and the Docker files I've been using for my test deployments to my GitHub repo, and those are the same manifest files and Docker files that we're going to be using right here in this video. So with this project, this diagram that we're looking at is not mine. I didn't build it. I found it online, and that's why I thought this would be a good project to work on. Excuse me. Um, with this project, we're going to be doing the following. We're going to be using the Azure AKS service, which is the Azure Kubernetes service. With that service, we're going to be deploying three nodes and three pods. And because I know it's two in here, but I use three in my I use three. Not just because I just picked the random number. All right, so we're going to be deploying three pods and three nodes and three pods, and those pods are going to host the application that we're going to be using. And then with those pods, and then with that, those pods are going to get the application that's going to be running on them from the Azure Container Registry. So it's going to pull the Docker image that they're going to be using from the container registry which we're going to build. And then also what Kubernetes is going to do is going to also deploy a load balancer, so as traffic come in from across the internet, then traffic is distributed evenly between all the nodes in the Kubernetes cluster. And then the entire deployment is going to be done through the Azure CLI. Outside of these, going through the portal and deploying the resources, mainly everything regarding building and pushing our Docker images is going to be handled in the CLI, and also going ahead and run our manifest file is going to be handled in Azure CLI. And then where we're going to get our source code from is, like I said earlier, from GitHub, where it's from my personal GitHub repository. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and head over into our Azure environment. All right, so we are now inside the Azure environment. We are now inside my staging resource group, and I use this mostly for demo purposes. And what we're going to do here, we're going to deploy our container registry first. And we already have one, but we're going to go ahead and create another one. All right, so with this resource group that we're going to choose, I'm going to choose my staging resource group, and I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it app. Let me just call app registry. I don't think nobody has that. Somebody does. Let's call it container reg. Okay. You know what? Call it game app registry. All right, cool. That was taken. I know that's good. We got a green check mark. All right, so we're going to deploy it in the central U.S. region. Well, I'm going to deploy it in this video. I'm going to deploy it in the central U.S. region, and I'm going to just use the basic for this deployment because I don't really need, because for this and what the basic gives me, it just allows me to go ahead and just deploy a standard basic container registry. And what that does, and the only thing that I don't get the ability to do is be able to go ahead and have it so I could have a private access, private accessibility to this container registry, and also I won't be able to do encryption as use my own CMK keys based on my own customer provided keys, encryption keys. So I won't be able to do any of that because I'm not using the premium service. So, but that's all right. We don't really need it. So we're going to go ahead and just deploy it. and it should take about a couple of minutes or so. Should take about probably like 2, maybe 3 minutes to deploy it. But yeah, so this is pretty much we're just setting up our container registry. And what we're going to do next, wow, that was fast. It never deployed that fast before for me. That's good. So we're gonna go to our resource, right? And we're gonna go ahead and we want to go first. I want to go ahead and grab this name. We're gonna need this for later. Need this late for later on. Go here, create a notepad for it, and put it over here to the side. All right, um, so now what we're going to do, if we go to our registries here in our container registry, we see we have nothing here. So let's go ahead and do our deployment of our resources let's go ahead and build our Docker image to push to the container registry. Now, how are we going to do that? We're going to go ahead and go open up our Azure CLI. I got mine in Bash. I'm more comfortable with the Linux terminal than I am with PowerShell. So we're going to go ahead and do ACR. We're going to do a build -- image. And I'm going to do an app. I'm going to do a directory. And we're going to call this, give a name. What name? We're going to name the app. Matter of fact, I'm going to use the name of one of the apps that we're going to use. So before we finish this, we're gonna go to the repositories, and if you want to go to the repositories is set up on the website, the damitchell.com website. But if you want to get there, just go ahead and go into the search bar, type in Dama Tech Guy 27 on GitHub, and just filter by user. You should be able to come here and go to my repositories. And the application that we're going to be deploying here is going to be right here in my repository called Game Apps. So we just click on it, and just to let you know that these apps are not made by me. So I recommend not just taking them and using them and selling them or anything like that, because I'm not sure I'm not sure. Just basically, in short, just let you know, don't sit there and go out there and sell these apps. Um, so I'm just using these for educational purposes in this video. All right, so let's go to. I use Glowcar. What's that? GLOKR. Right. GLOKR. Right. So we'll go here. We'll call it Glowcar. GLOKAR. All right. And we're going to do a colon, and we'll call it version 1 because it's the first version of our app. And we're going to go and do -- registry, and we need the registry's name. And the last thing we're going to need is we need to tell it the file to grab, which is our Docker file. So right now our Docker file isn't created yet, but we got the script ready for just in case we need to get it, just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and do a Control-C, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and do a CLI, and I'm going to name it, not to go to VI, do VI and do Docker file. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and go back to my GitHub. I'm going to just go back one. And we're going to go to Docker files. And we're going to go here to Docker file. And here's our Docker's file. Now what this Docker file does, it basically just goes ahead and grabs the latest version of Nginx, then goes ahead and updates the OS, installs Git, clones the repository that we're going to be using. That's why you want to go ahead and put the repository name here, or just go ahead and if you're following this video, just go ahead and paste your repo there. And then what it's going to do is going to go ahead and remove the default index.html that Nginx loves to deploy by default. It takes that test HTML .html document and removes it, then copies the contents of the applications folder into that HTML directory, and then removes the repo folder because usually when you do a git clone, it basically brings down the entire folder. It brings the entire uh application folder down, and then you can I'm just going ahead and just removing that just to clear up space. All right, then I'm exposing it over port 8080, and then that's pretty much it from there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and copy and paste this. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm going to just paste this in here. All right. So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to change a few things. Like I said, you want to go ahead and go into insert mode. You want to go ahead and delete this right here. That's not my repo. So we want to go back here. I'm going to go back to my game apps folder. And you want to go to Glowcar. What we want to do, we want to go ahead and grab our game. Actually, go back one directory. My bad. Let's go right here. Go to HTTPS. Go right here. Copy. Then you want to go and paste that in there. And then do a space. Back in insert mode. Do a space. And then what happens is normally when you download these repos, like I said, they'll download a file they'll download, because since it's going into the repository game apps, what it's going to do is going to download a folder called game apps, and that's not what we want. So what we want to do, we want to go ahead and we want to make sure that if it's going to download that game apps folder, we want to make sure that we're copy and pasting, not to get the contents of the Git apps folder, because that's what we want to grab here. We want to go ahead and change this to game apps. But we want to do, we don't want to, because since we're getting the application Glowcar, we want to make sure that it's going to go down one directory. So we want to basically get this Glowcar directory. And since that's a capital G, I got to make sure that G is capitalized, or it's going to, freak out. Or Azure's going to freak out when I do that. So we're going to go ahead and move this, and we're going to call it Glowcar. All right, and then what we're going to do, we're going to go right here to the repo folder, and we're going to go ahead and delete this, and we're going to go ahead and remove the game apps folder. So once again, like I said, it's going to download the game apps folder from the repository. It's going to remove the default Nginx test.html file, index.html file that it used for testing. It's going to remove that. Then it's going to go ahead and copy the contents of the game apps Glowcar folder into that HTML directory. Then it's going to remove the game apps directory and then expose the app over port 8080. All right, so just to double check, game apps Glowcar. All right, so we're good to go. All right, so we have a few. So we have our Dockers. We have our Docker file created. So now what we want to do, we want to go ahead and we want to run the script that we have above here. Go here, copy, and we want to paste this right in there. All right, so if we did everything correctly, it should go ahead and build just fine. So let me see what it do. It gave me a problem. Okay, so it gave me -- okay, so app Glowcar. So that's weird. So it's my registry. That's what I did. File, Docker file. That's what I did. So what it's complaining about? All right. So let me see. What did I do wrong? All right. We're going to do it. We're going to do it differently this time. I don't know why I complained, but we'll go ahead and do it a different way then. Go to version 1. I don't know why I complained, but we're going to go ahead and make a subtle change. All right. So I'm going to do this. I think we did everything correctly in the last one. Yeah, we did. So I'm not sure why I didn't run. So we're gonna go do this. I'm gonna go ahead and do -- registry, and we're going to go ahead and put this here. All right. And oh, I know what happened. Stupid me. Forgot something. It did work fine. I forgot this stupid dot that goes there, and it should build. I forget that every time. If I type it out by hand, I forget that little dot every time to go ahead and run it. So right now you see that it's building our our Docker's file, and it's pushing it to the uh game apps registry that we've created. Just give it about a couple of minutes here, and it'll go ahead and there you go. It didn't take that long, 34 seconds. So okay. So if we were to go back into our repo here and click refresh, boom, there's our Glowcar image. All right. So now that's done. So we have our image created. We have our Docker's image ready to go. So now